Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. We set out at the start of the year to be champions. We knew that just getting promotion, probably wouldn't be good enough. And the pressures of playing for a club like Manchester United, they expect trophies and they expect you to win games. And I think as a team, we've relished that pressure, and we've done well. We've scored a lot of goals and not conceded too many, which is a nice thing on my behalf. But really enjoyed the season and glad we can enjoy it now with one game left.
And how does it feel to know that you've got champions and to be playing in the Super League next year? How exciting is that for you?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Obviously, I dropped down from WSL 1 last season to play for United. So I'm excited to get back to the top level, to play against some of the best strikers potentially in Europe at the minute. Is something that I'm really looking forward to, and we know as a team that we're going to have to step it up even more next year. And since we got promoted, we've been saying we're a WSL 1 team now, and those are the standards that we expect from each other, and I think we're more than ready for the challenge next season.
And Lucy, it's been quite a successful year for Barnsley as well. Quite a good cup run. You're in the County Cup final next Sunday, but also challenging all the way at the top of the league as well. How happy have you been with this season?
Oh yeah, I think Chris and the girls are all in the same boat. It were quite unbelievable that the changes that had been made from last year to this season, and all the girls have contributed to that, getting through to the County Cup final against Huddersfield again. It's a bit like deja vu of the last 4 years, but it just shows that we're competing with the best teams in the area, and Huddersfield being the league above, I think, is credit to us lot and the staff involved with how far we've come this year. And I think it wouldn't be unrealistic saying that we're going to challenge. We're not just going to go there to turn up, we are going to compete and hopefully try and win the trophy.
And how are you feeling about next Sunday? Obviously, County Cup final is at New York, at the New York Stadium. Is it an exciting time for you and the girls?
Yeah, definitely. This will be my 4th County Cup final, so every season I've been at Barnsley we've managed to get there, mainly on buys through the last couple of seasons. Quite a few of the rounds were buys, so we didn't really feel like a cup run, whereas this year we've played more challenging games in the cup run to get to that final, and it's the pinnacle of the season really. That's what we're aiming to get, that's what we want to achieve. We want some silverware at the end of the year just to prove how hard everyone has worked at the club, which I think everyone will be pleased with.
And obviously you are sisters playing at different football teams. How many chances have you had to see each other in action this season?
Yeah, I've been to watch Lucy a few times this year. I think the most recent game was the friendly against Sheffield United. Obviously an established championship side doing really well this season, and to see how they competed, not only matched at times, probably bettered Sheffield United in spells of that game I thought was really impressive. I've said to Lucy before and spoke to Chris before that I think this year they look a lot more organised than maybe they have done in past seasons, and the players that they've brought in, probably more experience is what they needed to step up to that next level, and I think they've done that, and I've been impressed overall with the games that I've seen.
Yeah, it's hard to watch each other because we normally play on Sundays, or they are quite far away in terms of distance, but when I've been to watch Amy, the standard's unreal. You can't really believe that there's a women's team that plays at such a high standard, and the way Amy's developed as a player is, again, unbelievable. From where she were at Liverpool, being injured last year, to obviously where she is now is really good.
And obviously you mentioned there about each other's development. How, looking at each other's performances, do you think you have developed as players and as leaders as well on the pitch?
Yeah, I think so. I think Lucy's probably always been a natural leader, and that's something that I've admired about her game from a young age. She's always been sort of the captain of the side, and maybe something that I've probably struggled with more in my career. Obviously, we're both centre halves, we're both ruthless, old-fashioned defenders, but I think something that Lucy's definitely had is sort of a natural ability to affect those around her, and I think that's something that's admired in that's something I definitely admire in her game, and something that probably comes quite naturally to her, and certainly something that I'm trying to work on in terms of improving my performances on the pitch.
Yeah, like Amy said, we are quite old-fashioned in terms of tackling, heading,
Take no prisoners,
defending, which you don't really see that often in the women's game. It's much more about being a footballer at the back and being able to play out, which I know Amy has developed massively this year, which is something I've spoke to Chris and Andy about developing in my game. So confidence on the ball and being able to affect the game from the back, and also being determined to keep improving. I think with Amy being injured for such a long time, she's got a lot more drive and passion for the game, which I want to continue in my game to keep improving.
And if there was one thing that you could take from each other's game to improve your own, what would it be?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, probably Lucy's ability to affect others. I'm playing in the minute in quite a young, inexperienced team, I suppose, and I'm probably one of the more experienced players.
Does that mean old?
Old, yeah. I'm one of the grandmas of the team, so I think I've probably been more relied on in terms of that this season than I have throughout the rest of my career. And
it was a bit of a shock to you, really, weren't it? Because Amy's never really been in that position of being a captain. She's always been quite quiet in the changing rooms and stuff. So I've seen that change in you this year to be more like as a leader and more vocal.
I think it's important, especially being a centre half, to dictate what's going on not only in front of you but around you, and you can influence other people's games no matter how you're playing, and I think that's definitely something that I'm working on. I think that'll become more important next year when the pressure's on and the games become more important for me to draw on my experiences to affect others. I think is something that I can take from you.
And I think because for me, Amy's got a lot of experience at all different levels, and so the knowledge of the game is something that I would never have experienced playing at the level that I play at. So like passing on that knowledge of the game that Amy has, I've found very beneficial this year, and I've tried to do that with obviously people around me, and like I said earlier, determination to keep improving.
And are you competitive with each other?
Not really. We were speaking about this before. We're not. I wouldn't say I'm a competitive person in terms of like everyday life, but football's a different story. But we've never competed against each other. We've always just supported each other, playing the same position. It's quite easy to empathise with each other and know how hard it is to be a centre half in the women's game. And when we were younger, we were always on the same team playing against the boys. And it would normally just me and you take the whole street, weren't it? So
we used to have to stick together really, because it would be literally like we'd be the only two girls, weren't we, in the
area
team
where we lived, who were anywhere near a football pitch, weren't it?
And in a way it was good that to know what I was going through playing in a boys team, and the hardships of that. I knew that Lucy was going through the same thing, and we used to team up, and that's probably why we tackle like we do, because playing against the lads, you have to be game, you have to be physical, and we'd sort of stick together, wouldn't we, and just be like, right, it's the Turners, it's the Turners against the lads.
Nobody wanted to play us, did they?
No, the lads used to put their shin pads on when they knew me and Lucy were going, which is funny, isn't it? But like against each other, like Lucy said, we're not, we want each other to succeed, and I think we've always had that mindset. We've never compared one another to each other, have we? We've just we're our own player in our individual rights, and we've done what we can to help each other through.
And obviously, Amy, you've played in a lot of big games. You played a lot of big teams this season throughout your career. County Cup final for Barnsley and Lucy next Sunday. Have you got any advice for her and the girls?
I'd probably just say to enjoy it really, and enjoy the occasion. Like Lucy was saying before, it's probably going to be the most important game of the season, and something that you look back on in years to come. And have fond memories of the day, regardless of the score. I think, Chris has done what he can with the team leading up to the game, and it's just about those players going onto the pitch and, taking all the experiences from previous games and, in the league and in the cup, and drawing on that to to take you through really, and just to enjoy it. You know, they've played in a few in the last couple of years, and you know they always seem to step up the game. You know, I've watched the last 3, and you can always see like an extra edge to each play. You can see the relishing in the occasion, and I think to go that one step further and win it would be nothing more than they deserve for their efforts this season.